I was a monastic for 6 years in the Roman Catholic tradition, a strict monastery in Spain. I spent 3 years in Rome. We prayed about 6.5 hours a day, 5.5, 6.5. Lots of silence. And sometimes being back out in the world and being a busy school teacher now, I often think to myself, oh dear, where's the cell? I know where my cell phone is, but where's the cell? And the cell phone can often lead us to the cloistrum peccatorum, the cloister of the sinners, the cloister of Satan, so easily. It may not be possible for many of us to get to the monasteries. Monasteries are a unique vocation for the few. They're not for the elite, they're for the lucky and chosen few. God knows best. But all of us can have the cloistrum, the cloister of the soul, of the heart. And this is found in chapter 10 of this beautiful book of the 12th century, the golden epistle of Abbot William of St. Thierry, which he wrote to the Carthusians of Montdieu, the early Carthusians. Beautiful, beautiful order. Today is the feast day of St. Bruno, its founder. Really, to my mind, the best of monastic tradition emerging from the West. Very much inspired by the hermit tradition, the Athonite tradition, the desert fathers, hesychastic tradition, with so many elements of that still richly embedded within its tradition. Nunquam, I'm not going to butcher the Latin, but never reformed because never deformed. That's their motto. And there's not many corners of Catholicism can claim that nowadays in all sincerity, which is why I'm Orthodox. But here we go. The 10th chapter. The outer cell is the house wherein thy soul and thy body dwell together. The inward is thy conscience, which ought to be dwelt in by God, who is more inward than all thine inward parts. As St. Augustine says, Intimior intimo meo, et altior altius meus. God is more intimate than my deepest intimacy, and there we must find our cloister. The door of the outward enclosure is a sign of the door of inward privacy, that as by the outward closing of the senses of the body are not suffered to wander without, so the inward senses may ever be gathered unto their own inwardness. Wherefore love thou thine inward self, and love the outward, and give unto each its proper service. Love the outward self, he's going on to say, not so that you can close the doors and sin away at leisure, but rather to live the more securely there in the inner sanctuary, the inward cell. For thou that art yet a novice in this dwelling knowest not what thou owest to the cell, unless thou consider not only how thou art healed of thy faults therein. He's going to talk about in this book how silence is the great healer. Silence in the cell. But also how thou needest not now to have strife with alien things. And that's the problem today, is we can have strife with alien things, with outer things, by just being on these silly cell phones all the time. And it doesn't matter whether we live in, like I do, on the periphery of a beautiful nature reserve or in the midst of the city. We can still have this alien strife by being busy about a multitude of things, like Martha and oh so much worse. I think I'll leave it there. I think that's enough said. The cloister of the inner man, a cloister of the standing with the mind in the heart, which is at the very essence of Orthodox spirituality, but can also be found in the great Western spiritual traditions like the Carthusians as well. The Lord grant us to evermore love and cherish and protect the inner sanctuary of our hearts, so that there we may commune not just with ourselves, with self-awareness and self-understanding and stillness. We're not just talking Zen, something Zazen, but crucially, we may converse there with God. God shine His light into the stilled mirror of our souls. Amen.